This is Dr. Vaishali, and I'm reading from the book Substance of Homeopathy, book written by Dr. Rajan Sankaran. Chapter number 36, The Salt. And first salt was natrum carb, and second one is natrum phosphoricum. In natrum phosphoricum, the four stage are: number one, the main feeling of natrum phosphoricum is the person I love is indifferent to me. Second, they are self possessed, self dependent, and very helpful people, very friendly, sensitive, and sympathetic. And three, indifference to loved one, many fears like delusion, image, frightful, anxious about the future, starting from the noise, starting easily, irritability from the trifles. And fourth one is discourage and imbecility. Physical symptoms are sourness, acidity, but with desire for highly pungent, strong tasting things, and craving fried fish and the eggs. Now, next one is Natrum muriaticum. In Natrum muriaticum, four stage are like number one, the main feeling in Natrum muriaticum is of being betrayed, disappointed by the person with whom he seeks or he has a relationship. Number second, they are very organized, independent, and dependable, reserved. They have a wall of unapproachability but are externally cheerful. It is difficult to get them to express their real feeling, but when they break a little, there is a flood of grief. However, this is rarely shown. They are highly sensitive, much desire for the music, and romantic can be passionate. Must desire for the music and romantic and can be very much passionate. Number three, they have a fear of being hurt, disappointed, and hence are reserved, unapproachable. At the same time, there is a tremendous insecurity with the fear of being alone, of the robbers, and etc., like of a Netram carb. They make strong effort to try and maintain the relationship they form. Means the rubric is affectionate and sympathetic. There is a feeling within that they are not good enough. So the delusion she looks wretched when looking in the mirror, and this is the reason they may be let down or disappointed. Following such disappointment, there is a great sadness. So, rubric is silent grief, weeping when alone, and with aversion to consolation. There is a bitter feeling, tremendous anger and irritability, and hatred and malice. Dwells on the past disagreeable occurrence. So, revengeful, an idea clings, prevents sleep, inspire revenge. They become aversion to company, shut off from the people, aversion to the opposite sex, to her husband. This again alternate with desire for the company and relationship, etc. Thus, we find contradictory symptom in Nitrum muriaticum. In order to avoid the disappointment, they enter a relationship where right from the beginning there is no expectations of the total commitment, like falling in love with the married man or the servant. Uh, Silent, one sided love. They like sad music, exit of a magnum. The mental symptoms are aggravated before menses. I have found that these patients usually give a history of big problem or quarrels with their parents. There is almost always a history of disappointment in love, tremendous grief after death of someone dear, and stage 4 is I have not seen this stage 4 in this Natrum muriaticum. And physical symptoms are they are hot patient, headache from exposure to sun, crave salt, bitter things, crack in the middle of the lower lip, especially in the cold weather, much thirst, sweat leaves a salty deposit, map tongue, much trouble around the menstrual period. And now next remedy is Natrum arsenicum, and this is remedy I have seldom prescribed, but in the stage 1, in my understanding, it should have the main feeling is I cannot trust and may be cheated by the person with whom I have a relationship. The rubric are starting, suspicious, restless, anxious, frightened easily, fear of people, These rubrics are easily understood in the light of the main feeling beside this letrum arsenicism as a two specific delusion that is neglecting his duty, delusion fancies he has done wrong. These two symptoms seems related to arsenic symptoms. Fear when something is expected of him. So the cares for others and delusion he has offended his friends. And second stage, in the second stage, one can expect the netrum arsenicism person to be very dutiful to his relationships and he will be very caring and supporting to them. In third stage, he is mistrustful, anxious, and irritable. One can also expect the cautiousness and fastidiousness of the arsenic. And fourth stage, I have never seen. Now that I discuss one case of Mr. N, of 43 years of old housewife, Mrs. N, a 43-year of old housewife, came with the complaint of recurrent bouts of dry cough with dyspnea and pain in the chest. The complaint were from 11 complaint were night from 11:30 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. lying down and by tea. She had a cough as soon as he had touched the pillow. There was involuntary passage of the urine with the cough. She feels very hot, sweat profusely, and is very thirsty. She is hypersensitive and BP was 190 by 120 and has a past history of the malaria. I observed that she was very reserved, answered to the point, sat erect, and did not reveal her emotion easily. On inquiry, I learned that she was extremely fastidious and anxious to get the work at home done on a time. She was very sensitive and would remember any hurt for a long time. I gave her the natrum arsenicum 200, with which not only did her cough disappear completely, but her hypertension too improved to the extent that she does not take any antihypertensive drugs anymore. And notes were under the comment here, though the patient feels hot, natrum arsenicum was given. Natrum arsenicum is generally a chilly remedy, but it was otherwise clearly indicated. In general, it is important to match the thermal modality, but if remedy is otherwise very clearly indicated, one single modality should not be ruled out. We can rule out. Physical symptoms were chilly patient and a crave for pickles. This is a symptom of natrum arsenicum. Now next remedy is natrum sulfuricum. In the first stage, the main feeling of natrum sulfuricum is I am scorned, disgraced, insulted, not appreciated by the person with whom I have a relationship. This is clearly seen in the dream of vexation, dreams that a young gentleman of the acquaintance slighted her. Dreamed that he was much hurt and provoked because he had been insulted. Dreamed that insult had excited him so much that he began to fight. They are very independent. In the second stage, they are very independent, dignified people who win respect and honor in their field of activity. They are industrious and make effort in order to gain an appreciation or to be valued by other in a relationship. They are caring, responsible, and helpful. These are the people whose advice is sought and whom one can confide. They will not be taken advantage of. Very independent, and the sense of pride is marked. In stage 3, in the third stage, we find that there are people who make a lot of effort to keep the relationship and therefore they can be dominated or suppressed. Often they are taken advantage of and scorned. Though the resent this internally, they are so dependent on the relationship that they allow themselves to be made use of and treated badly. All the while feeling not good about themselves, not worthy, they can get quite irritable and angry about this. This irritability does not last longer, however, and it is followed by the feeling of guilt and remorse, which alternate with the feeling of indignations and hurt pride. When the relationship is not successful, they can get into the stage of very deep sadness and melancholy, and which is usually unexpressed and internal. In this stage, they can have suicidal thoughts. So the rubric is sadness with a suicidal disposition. They have no wish to live and feel that nothing ever works. So the rubric is succeed never. They can be quarrelsome and so the dream of fighting. And natum sulfuricum has a strong feeling of responsibility and guilt. And it is these features that make it leading the psychotic remedy. And on the in the fourth stage, does not talk and wants no one to talk to him, and suicidal disposition. And the physical symptoms were wet weather aggravate, hot patient, asthma in early morning, desire for ice cold water, sudden diarrhea in the morning, itching when undressing, especially of the toes as soon as he remove his socks, itching of toes evening when undressing, which is mentioned in the Kent repertory. Now, discuss one case. Mrs. N, 55-year, came to me with the complaint of recurrent asthmatic attacks since 8 years. These attacks are aggravated during the humid and rainy weather and from exposure to smoke and dust. She was on allopathic treatment, bronchodilator, etc. She had yellowish green expectoration and she is very calm, mild person, and she is very sensitive and feel insulted when or easily insulted very, but suppress all her feelings, and she care a lot of her family and is very tense about the health of the daughter and mother-in-law. Her two sons are in the USA and she misses them a lot. As a child, she was very joyful, playful, and mixing easily with the people. Now she prefers to be alone. She does not like to be consoled except by close relatives, and she likes to read novels, scientific books, knitting, and listening to the Indian classical music. She get dreams of the thieves and of falling from the height. I gave her the natrum sulfuricum 1 with the which her asthmatic attack decreased in intensity and frequency. She is improving steadily. And now the next salt is Kali carb. In Kali carb, the first stage is the main theme of the Kali carb is the vital fear and reactivity. That is seen when the person lacks the support of the family or a group. In the second stage, I have not seen many patient in the second or cope-up stage. However, I have found that they can be independent, caring, very supportive of their family or the group. In fact, they can be backbone of the whole family. They can be friendly, cheerful, and confident. Now, in the stage 3, I have seen that this stage very often and find it very easy to recognize for the Kali Carb. The main feeling here is a tremendous need for the family group for the support. These are much anxiety with the fear when alone. The anxiety is seen everywhere. For example, frightened at trifles, fear of being alone, startled easily from the noise, from the touch, dream of the ghost, of the danger, of a robber, of falling from the height, of frightful figures. There is a strong desire for the support which is represented by the rubric carried desire to be, rocking amulet and shrieking for the aids. Dream of dead relative calling out for help. They feel forsaken when they don't get the support they need. This can make them feel very angry, quarrelsome, irritable, shrinking at trifles. And this quarrelsomeness is directed especially at the one whose support they seek. For example, husband or child. Dream of quarreling with the dead relatives of the dead person as if they were alive and quarrel with her, which is mentioned in Allen Encyclopedia. After the quarrelsome, they can get quite tearful, weeping when telling of her sickness, and even into the more pitiable state of the begging and entreating. And in the fourth stage, when their efforts to get support they need fail, they become indifferent. When in society, aversion to a husband and member of the family, disgust, hatred, sulky, and repulsive. Now, clinical observations where many Kalika patients are very well organized, mineral characteristic. I have found, as I have described in the spirit of homeopathy, that these patients can get quite quarrelsome with the doctor and often do not admit to any improvement, and their follow-ups often begin quite suddenly with the statement, "I'm not better." They speak loudly and are impatient with the progress of the treatment. Even so, they are quite faithful to the doctor and don't leave very easily. Their anxiety about health is marked. As my colleague Jay Shah observed, they often make a theories about their diseases. And physical symptoms are often they are chilly patients, sweat, backache, and weakness. The main feeling in the back and joint is as if they will give away and will not give him the support he needs. He therefore needs to support his back. Many gastrointestinal complain especially of the flatulence. In women, always many complain around the menstrual period, especially irritability and pain in the breast before the menses. Cramps in the calves and the jogs in the sleep are common. Aggravated at the 3 a.m. Perspirations on the upper lip. I have found this to the characteristic of the Kali carbonicum, especially while eating, and crave for the sweets. Now, next salt is Kali phosphoricum. In the first stage, the main feeling is I am not loved or like of phosphorus by the people from whom I seek support, like the Kali. Kali group. Support means Kali and love means phosphorus. And second stage, so I repeat the same sentence for first stage. The main feeling is I am not loved by the person from whom I seek support. And second stage is I have seen Kali phosphoricum patient to be very cheerful, friendly and expressive, quite independent, very supportive of their family, sympathetic and cooperative. Number three stage. In the three stage, the Kali phosphoricum, the person can be tremendously anxious, highly nervous, oversensitive, and affected by the trifles. They are always on the edge, so nervous that even a slight noise causes startling, and apprehensive about the future and the health. The mind is full of thoughts and activity, and they cannot sleep. Kali phosphoricum is a well-known remedy for the insomnia. The dreams are very frightening. One patient narrated a dream in which she was chased by the tiger. The tiger was knocking at the door while she and her family, children were in the house and her husband was missing. On the other hand, they can get very irritable, even cruel to their husband or the baby. A businessman may find that his partner have let him down and suddenly he has to face it all alone, though he seeks supports. So the rubric was the clinging wants to be held. He does not find such support and get quite desperate, and so the rubric is delusion being doomed. And now he tries his best to manage the business by himself but soon gets worn out. So the rubric is businessman worn out. And on the fourth stage, work seems to drive him crazy owing to the impotency of his mind. This rubric represents a worn out condition and paralytic state of the mind where his sense become dull. He cannot use his mind anymore because and become an imbecile, indifferent to the business. Now the case of the Kali phosphoricum, a boy age of 10 years brought to me in by his mother for treatment of long standing extensive ringworm infection with which extend over his abdomen, thigh, and the nuts. The mother also mentioned that the boy has become a very touchy and irritable, did not like to study, and could not concentrate. At the beginning of the interview, the telephone rang and the boy was visibly startled by the sudden noise. I noticed that he puts his finger into the mouth and made funny gesture throughout the interview. He had to search for words before answering, and making it often seems like he was stammering. When asked about the dreams, he said he had a vivid dream that he watched his brother being chased by a bull and then falling down and breaking his leg. When asked about the pregnancy, the mother said that she had fallen on her abdomen as she was walking fast and did not see an object on the floor, and she had a tense time in the pregnancy as she was alone. Her husband was mostly out of town for the work and had to look after her children alone. She had a dream around this time that there was a tiger after her, and she tried to climb the stair and get into the house to protect her children and herself. Ultimately, she escaped. She described herself as being uh, over involved with her children. Children are my whole life, and she is very friendly, communicative, and caring for the others. The rubrics chosen were that starting easily, starting from the voice, starting from the fright, gesture ridiculous or the foolish, restlessness during mental labor, fear of being alone. Kali phosphoricum was given and child mental state improved considerably and the ringworm disappeared totally. Here one can see in the dream the extreme anxiety of Kali along with the caring for others feature of phosphorus. Together this leads to the idea of the Kali phosphoricum needs to take care of the family on whom she depends. The mother was later benefited by the same remedy as son got result. And physical symptoms are weakness, fagged out paralytic weakness, oversensitive physical state, chilly patient, careworn look on the face, hungry soon after the eating, and crave for the sweets. Now